Welcome everyone, I'm Carlos from Brooklyn Fragrance Lover. I'm here with Mr. Hans Hendley of Hendley Perfumes, and we're going to do a little Q&A together. He was very nice to come over to my part of Brooklyn from his part of Brooklyn. He's an indie perfumer from Brooklyn. Yeah, Brooklyn.
Go Brooklyn.
So how are you today?
I'm well, thank you. You doing all right?
I'm doing great.
Good. Thank you for having me, first of all.
My pleasure. I'm glad you made it.
You know, I've been familiar with your channel and your contribution to the community
Yes,
for quite
and
some
I
time.
met you
and we've
at
met
previous
out and about,
events and stuff.
So I'm glad we're finally able to make this happen. Thank you.
All right, man. So Hendley Perfumes, how did it all start?
Sure. So my name is Hans Hendley. So the name of the line is my family name. You know, I people often ask if, hey, have you been into making perfumes for a really long time? And I'm always reminded of a story that when I was probably like 8 years old, my mother will tell me this story that I was trying to make perfume when I was single digits, right? So I got rubbing alcohol and cloves and
Wow.
lemons and like put them in I was
That is
basically trying
funny.
to make this tincture of these herbs and spices and make a little cologne and bottle it and give it as gifts. I'm sure it was probably pretty awful. But, I think I kind of just always had that interest.
Great story, though.
In
That's fun.
making things.
Yes.
And, I'm a maker. I like to do stuff hands-on, and so. I just kind of I got interested, and I'm obsessive, and I went down the rabbit hole just a few years ago and started blending stuff just kind of as a hobby and for fun.
So you're self-taught?
Absolutely self-taught. Just kind of reading the books that are available and spending some time online and mostly just by doing it, by trying. You don't know what's going to work till you try a lot of times. So I just spent years and thousands of dollars, on material,
sure.
just experimenting and learning slowly. It takes time, and I just kind of finally got to the point where I was getting good feedback. I felt like what I was doing was pretty good.
So I'm sure you were testing with
friends,
roommates, and
family,
friends,
that whole
and what
thing.
have you.
Sure. So I decided that I was gonna, start offering them for sale.
When did you release your line?
So. This would have been October in 2014, so we're just a little over 2 years, 2 years in now, and it's been a wild ride. It's been
That's awesome. I've been hearing, lately your latest release, Maura. I've been hearing a lot of positive things, because I'm in all the Facebook groups and people are always posting about the latest thing. But the buzz has been good.
Yeah, thank you. This whole thing, as far as having like a little perfume line, it's gone farther than I originally would have imagined it already in the first 2 years.
That's a beautiful thing.
It
That's
seems
good.
to be growing, So this year there are a couple big milestones for me, and I released a new fragrance that people are responding to called Maura. Earlier this summer, I got some great feedback from Luca Turin, who we know wrote Perfumes, The Guide, and is well respected, of course, in the community.
Wow, that's awesome.
He posted a very flattering entry about my line on his blog, and I was just over the moon.
I can just imagine how happy you were on that day when you read that article.
It was one of the first things I saw in the morning, and like my heart started beating really fast. I was like, "Oh my God, this is happening!"
Like you can see the joy in your eyes.
Oh yeah, it was really cool. So it's been a good year for
Good.
me so far.
Continued success, much.
Yeah, thank you.
I was just telling you before that for an indie house, the bottles are really nice.
Yeah, I try. I've recently kind of made a few upgrades and tweaks after having some time to learn what works and what doesn't work, and figuring out supply chains and how to get my hands on nicer stuff. That's a big challenge, as I was saying, for us little guys is getting access to.
I can only imagine. I had breakfast this morning with Sergio Momo.
Yeah, talk about packaging,
thing.
right?
And he was talking about when sometimes certain raw materials can no longer be found.
Sure.
You have to scramble to replace it, and sometimes it can't be replaced. So he's constantly going around the globe looking for new sources and things. He was just in Brazil last month, but
keeping materials in stock. It's a ton of work.
Like you have to pay up front if you're going to use Haitian vetiver from a certain part of.
If I'm going to put that ingredient into perfume that I aim to release and produce on any even small scale. Like I'm
Mhm.
gonna have to, yeah, I gotta buy it up front. Like
And it's
cash.
costly.
And some of it stuff is like
Another
really
expense.
expensive. Yeah, extremely.
The packaging, the shipping.
Yeah,
You're a
it's,
one-man show, like
yeah, and
like Andy
yeah.
Tower.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I work pretty much alone. Sometimes when it gets really busy, I have people come and help me fill
Mhm.
sample vials and
Cool.
and put on labels and stuff like that. But mostly, yeah, it's me. I formulate everything. I blend everything. I bottle it all by hand.
You
All my
ship?
packaging is by hand. I do all my own shipping. All yeah.
So your initial release were 4.
I launched with just 3 perfumes.
3.
Only one of which you still see in front of you due to current out of stocks and ingredient availability issues. So, something I really always wanted to stick to with my line was making sure that, everything I put out was of the best quality that it could be with what I can do
course.
with my
Yeah, yeah,
resources.
yeah.
And so if I'm unable to get an ingredient that I need that's of good enough quality, or if if sometimes I just have to wait until I can do it right, I'm going to do that. If
So
I
there are
have to,
times when you're
I'm not
actually out of stock.
Yeah, I'm not super interested in like trying to reformulate things and
Good.
scrambling to do that. Like I want, I would rather kind of archive something and if it comes back, if I'm able to do it in the future, I will. But I'm a young perfumer too. I like to experiment. I think I'm always getting better, and so I'm kind of like wanting to move forward a lot. So I don't want to harp on the past too much. So. I
What
encourage
size
people-
are these bottles?
So these are 50 ml bottles. They hold a little bit more than that, all with the atomizer. And then I do travel sizes of everything as well. I do a 9
This is a
ml
travel size?
of each fragrance in the line also.
So there were 5. Was that the final answer?
This is what's in stock right now.
Okay.
If people visit my website, they'll see a few more that say they're sold out. But
Even
I leave
this-
the pages up so people can read about them.
I even like this travel spray.
It's nice.
Looks nice.
So this is the same size. This is a roll-on one for this oil perfume that we'll maybe get to. It's kind of a limited edition thing.
Okay.
But recent. So yeah, let's spray
smell.
some perfumes. Yeah. So we'll start with a Maura. This is the most recent. The idea here was I was working on this kind of berry accord for quite some time, and I wanted to build a perfume kind of around that berry accord, and I was interested in the concept of working in the kind of fruity floral genre, right? Which
Definitely fruity. That is sweet and vibrant.
Sure,
But not
sure.
overly sweet.
So that was the idea, right? So people think fruity florals, they think really sweet, candy floss, kind of. It's a very kind of done heavily in the mainstream,
Yes.
and often
And it doesn't always get
done very
positive-
poorly. It's
Yeah.
kind of has a bad rap. So I want to say, hey, let me do my take on this. Let me do a nice kind of stone fruit and berries and resins and musk kind of fragrance, but do it in my style. Make sure it's not too sweet and cloying, and so it starts out pretty huge and fruity and a little bit sweet, but it actually kind of gets fresher and a
That's
little
nice.
more invigorating and uplifting as it wears on.
That's a good sign when I smell on paper and then I want to put it on my skin.
Yeah,
So,
I know that's a good
just so
sign.
you
I'm like
know.
already feeling the love there. So yeah, I just released a Maura there at the end of September this year, and
So it's only been 2 months.
and it's gotten just great feedback.
It's popping up all over the boards.
yeah,
I promise you. I see it in my own group too.
Yeah, I couldn't have predicted how much people like it, and that makes me really
Awesome.
happy. It reminds me like why I love
Job
what I
well
do.
done.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about, man.
Thank you.
So what shall we smell
Let's move on to bourbon.
I remember smelling bourbon. That's a good one too.
Okay, yeah, this is ever popular. I think initially people often respond to the name. I think I did a pretty good job of choosing that because people like bourbon, they like whiskey. But I was thinking more.
I don't like whiskey.
You like Scotch, right? You're a Scotch.
It was a joke.
Yeah.
they're laughing out there. Trust me.
It's like some people who like Scotch don't.
I like Scotch,
don't like
yes.
whiskey or bourbon,
I like my Scotch.
But
So is this bourbon actually bourbon or it's vanilla bourbon?
So it's bourbon vanilla, right? But it's
Yeah.
boozy too, so
Excuse me.
it works both ways. Like so,
Yeah.
it's a vanilla fragrance. It's built around a lot of the best vanilla beans are bourbon vanilla from.
Unisex, right?
Absolutely, everything's unisex as far as I'm concerned. Men and women wear and enjoy both.
I like that.
Everything from the line. So.
This is one that I remember liking a lot.
Yeah, so it's popular. If you like vanilla fragrances again that aren't too sweet and have some dry kind of woody quality, spicy, smoky.
Not cloying.
And this one's in extrait concentration. So
just this one or all of them?
Just this one. So I concentrate my perfumes differently. I'm not. Oh yeah, that's a Maura. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Maura.
Yeah, that's a Maura.
Yeah.
So I don't have a blanket concentration across the board.
Okay.
Some of these are eau de parfums. Like I said, bourbon is extrait. I want the fragrance to behave and perform the way I think the formula should.
Okay.
Sometimes that might mean a 10% concentration. Sometimes that might mean 30%. It really depends. But bourbon is one of these that I like in this kind of more concentrated extrait format. And
are these mixed media?
Absolutely, I think that's important to cover. A lot of people ask me all the time, "Hey, are these all natural?" That question.
And is that the right word, mixed media? No.
That's the word I was going to use.
Okay.
I was thinking, should I say mixed media and then have to explain myself? But yeah, so that means I use synthetic fragrance materials as well as naturals, and I really think that's the best way for me, for what I like.
I think that
gives the best results.
They support and they balance
right. So
certain naturals, and
I think
and finding the right balance is not always easy. But from what I've smelled, these are
the way I think about it. Oftentimes, in terms of that, is like. Synthetics oftentimes are about structure for me. They're what make perfumes last. They make them, kind of diffuse a bit, and kind of building a skeleton, a structure that's really solid with synthetics. And then the naturals is really where you add the nuance and the beauty and the flesh, so that's kind of my approach in my head. So it's really I don't want to limit myself either. Like I want to use all the colors in the palette. I want to, I'm not strict about. Synthetic, natural, like if it works, it works. I just want to make the best thing I can.
Personally, I'm not the biggest all-natural fan.
Yeah.
And
I get, I
and
understand.
I always say that on every video that
I understand, why people might want that, and I get it, but it's not for me, I guess. So,
what are we spraying here?
So this next one is called Jade.
Jade.
The idea here was to do a refreshing, kind of lighter, fresh fragrance. But I wanted to avoid the citrus territory. So there's 0 citrus materials in here, and the primary chord is built around geranium and spearmint.
Yeah, that's minty. Yeah, it's green.
Green. There's two different types of natural geranium in there. We've got spearmint, some star anise, a little bit of sandalwood.
It's got a tingle to it.
A little bit of spiciness from like a bay rum type of accord in there. So this kind of push-pull between cool and warm spices that's kind of refreshing and uplifting and really easy to wear, something that would feel nice on a hot New York City summer day kind of thing. That's when
sweltering, humid day.
Yeah, we know how it gets here. So
the first two are more my style.
Yeah.
Maura.
It's nice, right? I mean,
I'm liking Maura.
It has an addictive quality to me. Like,
love it.
Whenever I put it on, or like when I'm just, sometimes I'm bottling, I'll put a little on the back of my hand. I just want to keep going back to it. I always go back to wherever that one's on me. Yeah.
Were you a fragrance wearer before you started creating?
Yeah, sure. I enjoy perfumes a lot. I have. I like wearing other people.
Did I read somewhere that you like vintage perfumes, or that you were
sure. I have made the effort to kind of smell some vintage formulations of classics and stuff where I can, and that was really kind of eye-opening for me in terms of ingredients-wise and what things used to smell like before a lot of the reformulations and stuff we were talking about happens. But yeah, I like the classics too.
I thought maybe that your perfumes were inspired by vintage style, but I don't find that. They are definitely modern. Perhaps this one has a bit of like an herbal cologne type.
Sure, yeah, and
but not citrus.
Right.
So,
yeah, and that was the concept. So
cool.
I'm glad that reads. But yeah, I have pretty classical taste. I like I like the classics and I like vintage perfumes and I enjoy that stuff. I enjoy wearing that stuff. So I think.
What was
But,
your
but I like
signature scent when you were
indie
younger?
perfumes too.
Like in high school, what did you wear in high school?
Aqua D, man, Aqua Di Gio. You know, but I never just had that. I think, what was that Paco Rabanne one that came in like the silver can? It was like, it was in this silver aluminum can. I forget the name of it. I had that. I had several. I think I wore like a Guess one for a while. But, you know,
So designers.
Sure, I mean, I was a teenager, but niche hadn't really happened yet
that's
at all.
fairly recent.
In the 90s, you know,
Yeah.
this was the mid-90s, so... Anyway, but you know, I love wearing Chanel perfumes. I love the classic Chanels and Guerlains. I love a lot of indie perfumes too.
Cool. Yeah, you support. I know you're good friends with Steven from Euphorium
Yeah,
and
so
Maria from Aroma M.
There's a few other kind of indie perfumers here in Brooklyn, and we get together and talk and smell stuff, and it's nice to have a community for sure. That wouldn't exist if I probably lived a lot of other places. And yeah, it's Roseenthal. So this is my idea on a rose perfume. It's rose and sandalwood, incense, patchouli. Really classical theme, of course.
I like this.
But I wanted to do it again my way. Like, how can I do this kind of really incensey, dark?
I smell resins. It doesn't smell overly
Resinous.
Rosy because I don't like overly rosy.
But like insane amounts of rose absolute in there. Like,
Is that right?
You know, I don't artificially color anything. It all comes from natural ingredients typically. So
Why do some perfume houses color things?
I'm sure they do. I mean, I don't know what material you put in to get like a Serge Lutens kind of purple color. I don't know what that comes from in nature, but it looks cool.
Yeah, it's my favorite color. That's
Yeah,
one of my favorite.
I don't-
Profundo, Profundis,
Di
Profundis, Di
yeah.
Profundis. I like that too.
Thank you.
I could see that wearing very well on a cold day, scarf weather, and you know, coming up in the cold.
Yeah, it's
cloud
warm
coming.
and kind of velvety and musky and woody and incensey and.
I like it. My favorite.
Maura and Roseenthal,
Yes.
right? Yeah. Two different facets of rose actually. A Maura in a lot of ways is a rose perfume, and so is Roseenthal. But different
I mean,
personalities, right?
It's only been 2 years, and you're doing well, and you know, all the best to you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
What do we got here?
One last little thing. This was a part of my original line. It's an incense perfume called Tama. It's an oil, unlike all my others are in alcohol. And I discontinued this one because it was hard to make, and some of the ingredients were becoming problematic, and so I just discontinued it. But I had requests for it, so I made a small batch for a few people who had requested it specifically, and had a few extra. So I just put that back up about a week ago, and
That's nice.
I've been selling a few of those. But
I'm not an oil type of guy too much.
yeah, neither. I definitely prefer to work in alcohol, but yeah, with the oil, with this perfume, I was originally thinking about like an anointing oil. It's like a frankincense, gold, and myrrh kind
But
of
it smells lovely.
concept. So yeah,
I like it.
frankincense, myrrh, sandalwood, cedar, that kind of thing.
Perfect for this time of year.
Yeah. So.
So when do you think you'll come up with your next fragrance, or you're gonna stick to this?
I have two new fragrances planned for next year. This year I'm pretty busy packing orders and
Cool.
taking care of
I love
the
to
shopping
keep success.
season. Yeah. But
Independent, Brooklyn,
Yeah.
just a lot of positive things, man. How much do these go for?
So the prices vary. So I was mentioning how I concentrate things differently, and so I really base the pricing for everything on how much it costs to make the formula, etc. So they'll range anywhere from, on the high end, for 50 ml of bourbon extra, that's $260, and then all the way down to $96 for a Maura eau de parfum in 50 ml. And then, of course, I do everything in a 9 ml travel spray as well. So those range from $18 to about $55.
There's a nice assortment.
And of
something
course,
for
there's
everyone.
samples, 2 ml spray samples that I do of
That's very
everything as
important.
well. I do a little discovery set where you can kind of try a few things, and it comes with a coupon to discount you on a full bottle if you like one.
That's a great incentive.
You know, because I'm small and I sell from online. Like I want to make it as easy as possible for people to try fragrances and see if they like them without losing money, though. Too. So.
Well, I thank you so much for taking me through the line. Really
My pleasure,
exceptional
course, yeah.
work, and I wish you the best.
Yeah, thank you.
In the future.
Cheers, everyone.
So actually, Mr.
Oh
Henley
yeah,
here.
the discovery set. Let's do a giveaway. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for reminding me.
It was his idea.
I forgot. So people love giveaways. So I'll allow Carlos to set the terms, but this is one of my discovery sets. It comes in just a cardboard box. Lifts off. There's a little bit of information card on there, and then 4 samples. So spray samples. So it has a Maura, Bourbon, Jade, and Roseenthal, 2 mLs of each. So
that's very, very
pick a
generous
winner,
of you.
and I'll get it in the mail to whoever you choose.
How do you win this?
So,
U.S. only or?
I'll ship it anywhere. Let's go worldwide. How about that?
Okay,
guys?
so worldwide, as you heard from the man himself, all you have to do is subscribe to Brooklyn Fragrance Lover, like and share this video, and leave one comment down below with what you found most interesting about our interview here with Hans Hendley. Good luck. Hope you all are well, and we'll see you at the next review.
Thank you. Bye.